Hi guys, I decided to record a video about solving a problem for Fiftyville CS50 new problem set for 2021. Couldn't find any tips on the internet, so maybe I'm gonna be the first one. My solution is not the perfect one, but that's how my logic worked, and to be honest, I was quite tired and just decided to just do it. So what we have? We have a mystery in Fiftyville. The CS50 duck has been stolen and our work is to find it. If you check the walkthrough video, you know where you need to start. And basically the all information we know is that theft took place on 28th of July 2020 and it took place on Chamberlain Street. As it was suggested from Brian, what we need to do. So actually we need to go to download it, but it's easy. You're just following the direction how to getting started and you're gonna be fine. Then you're going to pset7 and Fiftyville folder. Here you're executing SQL command to go into SQLite, which is here in the hints, SQLite Fiftyville DB. And to check what we have, they suggested us to have execute command table and to see all the tables we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tables. Airports, ATM transaction, bank accounts, courthouse, security logs, crime scene reports, flights, interviews, passengers, people, phone calls. From it we need to find three things: who theft is, what city he escaped to, and who helped him, basically. After you submit your answers with these three persons and two persons and one city, that means you completed your task. All right. Let's check what's actually inside these tables by executing command scheme. That's what we have, and I actually put it onto a separate file, as you can see here, but because we will need all the logic, I just move it over there into online notepad to be comfortable. Most of them are primary key IDs, and only I think 2 or 3 tables have relation to each other. So what exactly? I think it's something related to airports. I draw a picture for myself. There are bank accounts, bank accounts which are related to person ID, and another one, passenger flights and airports. Airports, primary key, flights which goes to origin airport, destination airport, and passengers which goes to flights. Yeah, the rest of the table, they're independent. So what we need to execute first, I open my file where I put all my SQL queries and I explain you my logic. First of all, because we know where crime happened, I'm gonna execute this SQL command as per Brian. So this one. And because I already looked at the name of the table, the most obvious one, where could it be? It's crime scene reports. So when we execute that command into SQLite, you will get exactly what I copied in here. That's theft on the CS50 duck took place at 10:15 a.m. at Chamberlain Street Courthouse. Interviews were conducted today with 3 witnesses who were present at the time. Each of their interview transcript mentioned the courthouse. So basically now we know that we have 3 suspects, 3 witnesses, right? Now we want to check another table which called interviews. So they basically go one by one. You see the order which we need to go. And we basically go to interviews. So from interviews, select the star means every column. I wanted to check everything from interviews on the day 28 and month 7 what we had. So here they are. That's what we have. Just overlooked it a little bit. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interviews or 6 comments conducted on that day. Joss, Eugene, Barbara, Ruth, Eugene, and Raymond. That's the possible people. The first one, Joss. Alex said here, I forgot that I had C for some weeks. It's a little souvenir from Bohemia, blah blah blah. So it's definitely not what we need. Eugene. I suppose, said Holmes, that Mr. Winbon came here from France, very annoyed having gone to the ball, so it's also not related to us. Then, something interesting. Barbara. You had my note? He asked with a deep, harsh voice and strongly marked German accent. I told you that I would call. He looked from one to another of us and uncertain which to address. So German. It could be one of the note. That's what I put here. That's Barbara's note, and that guy could be a German name. Then we have Ruth. Sometime within 10 minutes of theft, I saw Viv get into the car to the courthouse parking lot and drive away. If you have security footage from courthouse parking lot, you might want to look for cars that left the parking lot in that time frame. So that's another key, what we need and what we're going to check. Then Eugene, I don't know Viv's name, but it was someone I recognized. Earlier this morning, before I arrived at the courthouse, I was walking by the ATM on Pfeiffer Street and saw Viv there withdrawing some money. That's another one, what we need. And Raymond, as Viv was leaving the courthouse, they called someone who talked to them for less than a minute. In the call, I heard Viv say they were planning to take the earliest flight on Fiftyville tomorrow. This then asked person on the other end of the phone to purchase the flight tickets. That's the third key what we need. And we go key by key. Actually, the fourth key. The first key is a Barbara. It could be German. That's what I put down. Another one, go away. Another one from Ruth. Sometimes within 10 minutes of theft, jump in the car and left courthouse. Basically, we have courthouse security lock. You see the third table, so we go into that. From courthouse, I just go selecting everything from courthouse security log on the year 2020, day 28 and month 7. We can't go into more details. We have hour, minute in here, and I just wanted to see what they had. I think this command doesn't work. Yeah, basically just to clean a little bit. We're executing this command and getting all this information. Because it was early morning, I decided to go from 9 basically. 9 and leaving. So yeah, they said that theft left around 10 minutes from when they stole the dog. That basically I was looking at the time after 10:15. That's what I had. As you can see, ID, year, month, day, hour, minute, activity, license plate. And I took all information which I need. That's actually, I don't need this, it's just too much. So from 10, 15 and 10 minutes, basically all the people I have around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 suspects. And I need just 10 of them, the suspects who left. So basically have their numbers, yeah, number plates, that's all what I need. Then Eugene. I will just leave it for now because this information we will need later on. Eugene, I don't know this name, but someone I recognized earlier this morning arrived to course house, and now we need to check ATM. With the ATM, that's, I don't need it for now, I need it for later on when I'm gonna check suspects. So then this ATM transactions, what we have in an ATM, that's the next table basically. We have account numbers, year, month, day, ATM location, transaction type, and we knew that ATM was located on the Pfeiffer Street. So I decided to check what do they have on that day on the Pfeiffer Street. Let's skip a little bit to see. That's what happened on the Pfeiffer Street. There's not many transactions, so I copied all of them and we don't need deposit. Basically, that's all the withdrawals. And we don't know what the time is. If we had time, this would be easier, but we have account numbers. So then I went to bank accounts and I decided to check account by account what actually happened. I know it could be done in a way simpler way, but I basically select all this account and wrote comment for each of them. So basically every account goes to every request. And if you go one by one, that's what you extract. So the account number, person ID, year when created, ID in the system, name, phone number, passport number, and license plate. That's very useful information for us. So I copied all the information down here, and we had 10 suspects. Then I decided to go by another tip about the phone calls. So basically they call someone who talked on the phones for less than a minute. In the call I heard that say that they're planning to take earliest flight tomorrow. So first of all I decided to check their phone calls. And with the phone calls, they have caller, receiver, year, month, day, and duration. We know it was less than a minute. That was my indication. And I basically took everything from the day 28, month 7, year 2020, and duration less than 60 seconds, because they have in seconds. I already checked it before. That's all what we had, and I copied them, and then I decided to check by the phone numbers which phone number is matching which person with their account number. To do after check bank account is to decide which car left courthouse security logs, and I actually highlighted, left them in color, the people who exited by that time and was very popular. Actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people left the courthouse, and I wrote down there, no I didn't, so I should write here, we have 5 suspects. Yeah, so it's Daniel, Madison, Ernest, Elizabeth, Russell. Actually even 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no 5. Daniel, Madison, Ernest, Elizabeth, Russell. Yeah, so we have 5 suspects. And I decided to check who did what calls. And basically when I checked Daniel, that's her number, and it was incoming call, so I exclude Daniel. Elizabeth is not even here with her phone number, not in the logs, so that's why we have only from the logs. When I check, we have Ernest, Madison, and Russell, so just 3 suspects now. And I basically shorted information, who Ernest called, who Madison called, and who Russell called at that time. Then I decided to check from people and check their phone numbers to find who they actually called. Oh, sorry, some background noise. So Ernest called Bertoy on that time, and we have license plates which are good, and we can see they're going to be matching somewhere. It's for later on. Bertold is a dodgy German name, so it could be our answer, but we still need to check. Then we know check Madison. Madison called James on that number, and they even have a passport number because it's table with people, and they're providing passport number, which could be useful when we're gonna check our information regarding to flights. Okay, and Russell called Philip. So we can see number plates. I think nothing is in here except this one. No, not even that one, because it's Bertold's car, not Ernest's car. I decided to check because they said they're flying as per one of the interviewers. They've decided to take earliest flight for the next day. I decided to check flights, and I wanted to know which number is Fiftyville, the short abbreviation of Fiftyville. If you check airport, it has only abbreviation, full name and city. So Fiftyville is the airport number 8. We'll need it for the future purposes. Then I decided to check who actually left from table flights. As you can see, they had origin airport, destination airport, year, month, day, hour, minute, and I decided to check what actually flights were from Fiftyville on 29th, the next day. And we had 5 flights, because it was the earliest flight. Basically took 2 of them, 8:20 and 9:30. But the earliest one would be 8:20. Let's simplify. Then I decided to check all these 3 suspects because we had their passport numbers. So I checked Ernest, and here is a little bit of complication with the code where we need to join tables because it's a foreign key table. I went from passengers. I joined with the flights, and I established relationship. Passengers, flight ID. So you can see flight ID. They're related to flight ID integer. So I joined the table where passport number is Ernest's number. That's what SQL came back with. Passport number, seat ID, origin, airport, destination, airport, year and month. That's the basic information what we need. So he took flight on the 29th at 8:20 a.m. from airport 8 to airport 4. Madison did the same, so he or she left at 8:20 from the same city to the same airport. And Russell went he bought I think 3 tickets. That's why, not to confuse myself, because I was pretty tired by the time when I was checking all of them. My logic was all over the place. So he bought 3 tickets, and I decided nah, so I'm not checking these guys. So basically 2 suspects left, Ernest and Madison. I decided to check who they actually called, and from the people I decided to check their names. If they had matching names, I would go different way, but when I was checking names, they actually was only 1 people with that name. And Bertold was already dodgy because he didn't have passport number. Everyone had but Bertold. So I checked James and Philip, the people who they called, from here. So I checked Ernest that called Bertold, Madison, James, and Russell, Philip. So I decided to check Bertold, James, and Philip. That's the Bertold, that's the James, that's the Philip. After the request, that's what it gave me, and I left note for myself, no passport, dodgy German guy. Yep. I wanted to check from the passenger list who took the same flights on the plane, and I couldn't check Bertold because he didn't have passport number. But with James and Philip, I decided to check. I joined another tables. I joined passenger and flights. So from passenger, join flights on passenger flight ID. Where is it? Passenger. Yeah, passenger. They go through the flight ID, passenger flight ID, and then by passport number is James number. And it's actually show me which flight he took and which dates and what time. So if we execute it to see the full code, because I didn't input the full output of it. Seat number, origin, destination, year, month, day. 7:30. So if we check the dates when he flew, it was 30s, 26, 30s, which are not our dates. Philip, 30s, 26, 30s, which are not our dates. It should be 29s. And I decided, like, okay, that's probably Bertolt, because he doesn't have any information. That's already dodgy. Then I just wanted to make sure that the number 8 is actually fifth wheel, right? I've checked it before. The number airport 8 is the fifth wheel. So, and I wanted to understand where Ernest flew to, like from 8 to 4, same as Madison, 8 to 4. And I wanted to find city 4. I also needed to join a couple of tables here, flights and airports, because airports had city names and flights only had a destination airport ID number, and ID number is matching the ID integer in here. And I decided to execute this command. So basically, flights, I'm joining these airports on destination airport ID, which equals to airport ID, where destination airport ID equals 4. That's what I need to know, because they flew from fifth wheel, which is airport 8, to airport number 4. Basically, when we're executing this command, it gives me this all information. Doesn't matter for me, but I know that destination airport ID is 4, abbreviation LHR, which is Heathrow Airport, London, City London. And at that point I decided, like, oh, well, I probably know who is the theft. So, and I decided to check these names. Ernest, the city where they go, London, and the accomplice is Bertolt. I just wanted to give it blind guess, but most of my my keys, they actually pointed at these people. So I logged them into answers. Let me just save it. Logged it into the answers and decided to go with the CS50 check. With the check, they actually checking what you put into your log. Even if you put one select request, it will already count it and your log will be fine. My front end. So now it's gonna pass all the information and tell. So if these answers are not correct, then it will say I failed the check of answers, because it's doing only 3 checks. I don't exactly remember which 3 checks. It's checking logs, that you have one select phrase here. It's checking that you have, come on, yeah, that these two files, exit, log SQL and answers. Log my file contains select queries. That's just basically if you have one select query, this will already check it, because I decided to check in the beginning. And yeah, mystery solved. That's basically the right answers you know. Thanks for watching. I know it wasn't perfect.